Friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
We continue the conversation with Riana Milne as she looks at overcoming past unhealed trauma. We pick up part 2 as she speaks on how unhealed trauma shows up in life, love, and relationships, this time with impulsivity.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. Now, she's Riana Milne. She's a global life coach, and she focuses on healing childhood and love trauma. She has been featured in Forbes. She's a #1 best-selling author. She has been teaching mindset for success for over 40 years. So don't be distracted by how young she looks. She's been around for a while.
Impulsivity is a big one. People that are impulse usually grow up with a lot of lack. Then once they make money, it's like, well, I want that shiny red car. I don't care if she says I want it. I'm going to buy it anyway. So impulse around deserving when maybe they heard a lot of lack messages or grew up in difficult situations. And if you had some of the abandonment issues, that'll show up in codependent relationships or breaking up and going back to the same partner. And the research even shows those dynamics happen 7 times. So consciously, you're saying, I know he's not good for me. I know he's toxic and he's addicted and all this is happening. But then you start missing him. And your soul, your psyche is not strong enough to get beyond them and move on to have the love you deserve. So then, you get together, then you break up, then you get together and you break up, even though your conscious mind says, I know this is not good for me. So that's some of which we call love addiction, or also RRS, relationship repetition syndrome. So if you recognize those patterns in yourself, then this is all going back to the original abandonment as a child. So there's so many different combinations and dynamics. Those are just a few of them. But our children growing up in traumatic homes, like I worked with them in the schools, I worked at every grade level. So there's definitely impaired readiness to learn, language delays, difficulty with concentration. So many of my kids in the elementary school, they're like quick to diagnose ADHD. And I'm like, wait a minute, he's coming from a traumatic home. Is there Miss Riana? My mom was sleeping on the streets of Atlantic City last night. I said, so you were home alone? Yes, but I knew to get myself up and come to school. These are the stories that I heard from these kids. And when their cortisol, their fight, flight, or freeze response is so high from anxiety and trauma, their ability to learn and focus goes down. So when I was doing some whoa things as a SAC counselor, like I'd have them meditate in my office. We did meditation. I would not have any of the bright lights on the ceilings. I use cool lights, soft lights of lamps. I use music therapy to help calm the nervous systems of my kids. And one of the ones I found worked the best was Louis Miguel. And I don't speak Spanish, but they would say, Miss Riana, put Mr. Louis on. I said, did you have a hard morning today? And they're there, yes. And then they just they can calm down. And now when I got all that nervous system addressed, then they can go back and they're learning better and they're friendlier kids. And then they're not ostracized by their teachers or their friends because they're difficult kids. They're looking for love and attention, but they just do it all the wrong ways,
But for those who won't have, I'm gonna say won't be privileged enough to probably, be able to go to therapy or to get a coach then, because there's a cost attached. What then for all of what you just described? Because I'm listening to you and I'm going, that explains why that is that and that. Yeah. So I'm also connecting some dots in my own life based on what you're saying. How then can people really overcome all of that? Because it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I think the older you get, you realize, because not again, sometimes I'll say, oh, I know why. It's because of something that happened.
Yes.
And you just identifying some of it, I'm going, that makes sense. That makes
sense.
So what are some things people can really just do then to help to just overcome all this and really then try to have healthier relationships? Because you're absolutely right. A lot of these things are why some of us then attract
That's right.
some of the toxicity, and all of
Well, the
that. So
brain,
how?
yeah. What's happening, Noreen,
Mm-hmm.
scientifically, is the brain likes homeostasis. It likes what it knows, whether it's
Ah,
good or bad. So the
that's true.
dynamic of what you
That's
grew up
true.
with is
That's true.
normal, right? So we have to break the normalized patterns. So most people want to fall in love because there's chemistry. Well, guess what? Chemistry is
Mm-hmm.
the worst way to fall in love because it's taking you back to the past. Your brain is recognizing, oh, I like this. This is normal. This is what we know. And that's what happens with these these patterns that keep going and driving people into toxic love. So, what can people do to get started on their
Mm-hmm.
education? One,
Mm-hmm.
get my books, Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams, and you can get free chapters right on my website,
Okay.
rianamilne.com. And I have a podcast called Lessons in Life and Love, and that's free. And I have 115 shows. So if you're looking to get help,
Mm-hmm.
definitely look for someone with CCTP, Certified Clinical Trauma Professional. If you miss some of the tests and you want to take it for yourself for free on my website, I have 4 free love tests. So that's again my name, rianamilne.com.
Mm-hmm.
And just get started. I have a discovery session out there where you meet with me directly. And I do a few brief assessments, like that's one of them, and then put the pieces together. So at least we know what's
Yeah.
going on. Because I have a saying, you can't change what you don't understand or acknowledge. So I was at that point. I didn't understand, why do I keep bringing people into my life that break my heart? What am I doing wrong? Because I was like, all right, I'm a good mom. I work really
Mm-hmm.
hard. I'm a spiritual lady. So what was it? And it was childhood trauma dynamics of what I grew up with. So once I could change that and I understood it, then my whole life changed. So, and it's really great to work with people because not only do they change their love dynamic, but usually while they're with me, their career, they get promotions, they get
Nice.
higher positions because they're just feeling happier. They're just feeling more confident in themselves and in their life. So
You, I,
happiness is
I,
anti-aging too.
I.
So.
That is true. That is true. That is true.
We take a break with a word from our sponsors.
Friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
I recently have been coached by the great Miss Noreen Daly. I own a video company. I'm also an online influencer. So I do a lot of speaking virtually and in person. She was able to point out some of my weaknesses that I didn't yet notice. And I 100% recommend Miss Noreen Daly as your coach.
Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors. Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at landolanguage@gmail.com. Because the real question is, how can we help you?
Friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
Welcome back as we work at overcoming unhealed trauma with the guest Riana Milne.
It takes a certain mindset then though, Rihanna, because you can be aware, but then even if you're aware, but then you're not open to change, then
Yes,
so
you have to
how
really notice that things are going wrong, or it's like, okay, usually people have a long-term marriage, they try and stay in there for a long time. It's toxic for the kids. That's usually what happens. Then they break up, and then it's like they start dating. Then they have another toxic person. Then they have another one. Then they read all these self-help books. It's like, all right, I got it now. Then they go out, but they have another one. That's usually when I see them on round 3 or 4, and it's like, what is going on? And then they hear, oh, it's tied to this, it's
yes,
tied to
yes.
my past. None of us had any ideas. And again, this is nothing I learned in my triple masters of psychology. It's all research based. And I was so excited about this in 2012. I'm like, I have to take this message to the world. I have to
Mm,
start teaching this. So
mm,
then I developed notebooks and my systems to teach people. But trauma healing does take a while. It's not a fast fix. It takes 4 to 6 months working with a trauma professional. So, but the other side of the rainbow, we call it, you start
mm-hmm.
as, I don't know what I don't know. And that's where I was. And as I'm
Ah,
studying this and healing, and you get to the other side, it's like miraculous. Like your life is just so peaceful and loving and easy and joyful,
mm, mm.
and you just feel totally different.
And I think
And
at the end of the day, that's really what people want. People
yeah,
really want to just quote unquote minimize all of this stress and all of this drama,
yes,
So
for
so
sure.
it's you said a lot, and you pointed us to a lot of resources that we can tap into. But I know there's gonna be somebody who's skeptical and saying, yes, it's all well and easy for you to say, Rihanna, because of where you are, and it's easy for you, Noreen, because of where
Wasn't
you
easy
are
for me while
also.
I was going through love trauma. Let me
Okay,
tell you, it was
okay,
not. I had to
okay,
stand up as my own attorney and annul my marriage. So it was not easy. And that's what drove me into the research. So I just want to encourage everyone that there's definitely answers to this and there's healing. We
okay.
do a lot. We do vitamin therapy, depending again, what is my client presenting with? So it's not the same for everyone, Noreen. You know what I mean? I really have to
Mm-hmm,
know what they're going through.
mm-hmm,
But we all do
mm-hmm,
meditation. It's called 15 minutes divine spiritual meditation. Why? Because meditation is proven in quantum physics. It lessens
mm-hmm,
anxiety, depression, the cortisol fight and flight response, and blood pressure, and increases focus, dopamine, and serotonin levels of the brain, which are your happy chemicals. So, this is
mm,
part of our morning routine. So, we are actually training our bodies and our brains to
yes.
feel and be different, right? The responses of as people, lash out with which we call emotional trigger. They're triggered and then they lash out with anger.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm.
they don't
That's
have
true.
the
That's true.
discipline in their mind and their body to say, okay, what's really going on here?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
calming it
yeah,
down and thinking it through.
yeah. As
So,
we're I'm sorry. Complete your thought.
no, it's important that we have to do both brain and body work, which is part of the mindset work that we do.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
As we're wrapping up, if you could put it in a three-step process in terms of just how to overcome all of this past unhealed trauma, what would that three-step process be?
Find a CCTP, certified clinical trauma professional that
Yeah.
specializes in trauma, because most therapists do not. Okay.
Okay.
2, get my free resources. My podcast, Lessons in Life and Love, and read my books, Live and Love Beyond Your Dreams. Go to my website, get all the free resources, free book chapter downloads of Live and Love. My free podcast is everywhere. I have a YouTube channel with over 250 free resources. Again, it's
Okay.
Riana Milne.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really, I just want to add as a third important one,
Mm-hmm.
keep an eye on your kids. If your
Yeah.
kids are showing signs of trauma, get them help. Don't think they'll outgrow it. Don't think they'll go away. I work with kids globally on the internet at 16 plus. But if your young child is showing signs of distress, try and find them a good trauma
Yes.
counselor or coach to help them, because they really need those skills early on. I know my daughter's had a toxic parent. And my little Alexi at 5 years old was sitting there and she watched Save the Children commercial. And she's there, Mom, one day I'm going to go save those kids in Africa. And I said, baby, I totally believe you will. Verbal messaging, right? And what did she do at age 20? Of age 15, she wants to be a singer. Now she's the age of Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears. And she goes, I want to be a singer. As the world aligns with the law of attraction and spirituality, which is a part of this, I happened to run into a top artist of the day. She was 19. She goes on world tour. She's signed. And her father says to her, you think you can be a singer? That's an effing joke. And she's there, the watch me mindset, which I taught her. And that took her into Africa. She made the connections. There's now 21 working water wells in Tanzania, Africa, that her and her friend has put in there. So, if the mindset is right and you can teach these skills to your kids, and this is all in the Live Beyond Your Dreams book, start there. Start with your kids, your families, because we are the ones that are modeling the behavior of what your kids can become. She's now a multimillionaire coach today and personal transformation. Her name's Alexi Panos. So, you can
Alexi
really
what?
Panos, Panos.
Okay.
Okay. And she didn't step foot in college. So it's all mindset, life skills. So you can teach success to your kids with this philosophy. So go for it. This is what I was doing for my kids in the schools. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.